It's time for the NFL Week 4 player props, and we also got some giveaways. Let's talk some football. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some more football. That's right, we got some NFL player props for Week 4. I absolutely love the player props and the slate this weekend. If you're looking for the game bets, that video is already out now, so go check it out. Also, MLB videos, just so you know, will be back for the playoffs on Tuesday, but obviously we don't do them on the weekend. The only thing we have Monday is like a Braves Mets series. We're not going to have a video for that, so just wanted to keep you updated on that. But we got some giveaways. That's right. Let's just do it, and it's all thanks to OUTLIER. If you don't know much about OUTLIER, one-stop shop for all your betting research help. It's huge, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want to take your sports betting to the next level and be profitable long-term, this is one of those tools that you need. So the link is below in the description for your own free trial, but that's for 7 days. We have 3 giveaways today. Thanks to OUTLIER. All you have to do is this: like the video and leave a comment below. That's it. We're going to pick 3 random people, and you're going to get 1 free month of OUTLIER. It's going to be awesome. So I'd take advantage of that and leave that comment below. But I'm ready to get into it. We have a lot to get into today, so let's get it started with that NFL fun fact. Here we go. State of Ohio, plug your ears. Big Ben Roethlisberger, has the second most quarterback wins at Cleveland Browns Stadium, behind only Baker Mayfield. If you don't know football, Big Ben never played for the Cleveland Browns. That's sad. Bonus, Big Ben also has the 3rd most quarterback wins at Bengals Stadium. That's right, the state of Ohio. Only Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton have more wins at Bengals Stadium. I'm sorry. You have Ohio State at least, and that's my favorite college team. So in this video, we're going to get right into the NFL player props. We got a lot of them, and then we got that ladder parlay. It is back after almost hitting last week. It was so close. And then we'll give you our favorite anytime touchdown bets and wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below just to say hi, to help the algorithm, and also to have a chance to win that OUTLIER free month. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 29,000 subscribers. And in the next week or so, we're going to have our first NHL video, as we have someone join the team. In case you didn't hear already, we're excited. He's going to do a season preview video as well as the daily bets videos throughout the season. So I'm ready to get started, and that means it's time for those player props. All right, we start out with player prop number 1 and number 2. We're going to split a unit on the same player. So give me Garrett Wilson under 21.5 yards for his longest reception, and Garrett Wilson under 54.5 receiving yards. First one I got at -120. Second one at -110 on DraftKings. First one was on BetMGM. Let's talk about it. It's all things Garrett Wilson under. The first one, under 21.5 yards for his longest reception. I just absolutely love this play because he's only gone over this on 1 catch this season. His ADOT, average depth of target this year, is around 9 yards. He is facing, if you don't know already, Patrick Surtain. He is unbelievable. Maybe the number 1 corner right up there with L'Jarius Sneed and a couple others. But Surtain is a guy who follows the receiver around the field. They shut down the number 1. He has only given up 1 catch of over 16 yards this season. So, actually, sorry, his longest catch he gave up was 16 yards. And Denver as a whole, as a defense, has only given up 1 catch of 20 or more yards, the best in the NFL. It's just been unbelievable. Part of that is because of that pass rush. And they're going to get some pass rush on Rodgers, especially with Morgan Moses out on the O-line. And that's going to make him get rid of the ball quick. And maybe he gets rid of it to Garrett Wilson, but it's not going to be for many yards. As you can tell, his ADOT is not very long. He doesn't run long routes or anything like that. So, I mean, for him to go over 22, it would take a really big kind of short catch and yards after catch, maybe a blown coverage, someone misses a tackle, and he runs. But other than that, guys, he's only done it once this year, and he's facing a team that's only given up just 1 catch of 20 or more yards the entire season to anybody. So I just cannot see him going over it. I absolutely love the under 21.5. I think it's too long for him. So second one, now under 54.5 receiving yards. Again, he's facing Patrick Surtain. Like I mentioned, the best DB probably in the league right now in this tough secondary. But this Denver team has this like Bill Belichick mentality when it comes to shutting down the opposing team's number 1 receiver. That's their main goal, and my goodness, have they done well at it. Let's just talk about what they've done so far this year. Held DK Metcalf to 29 yards. George Pickens, 29 yards. Mike Evans, 17 yards. And also held Godwin, who's been an absolute stud, to 53 yards. guys, it's just absolutely insane. And by the way, Godwin's 53 yards. In his other two games, he has 117 and 83. I mean, they have done an unbelievable job on number one wide receivers and number two, for that matter. But in general, it's not just that, guys. Garrett Wilson has been right around this line all season long. He's not a guy getting 80, 90, 100 yards and getting big chunk plays or anything like we just talked about. He had 33 versus the Patriots, 57 versus the Titans, and 60 versus the Niners. He's literally right around this line, and now he gets the hardest matchup in the entire NFL. He's catching shorter passes. Like I mentioned, he has one catch over 20 yards. That's it. So he's going to have to get this with a lot of volume. And obviously, like I also said, the Broncos only allowed one catch of 20 or more yards. That's absolutely insane. Wilson will struggle to get open. Obviously, it's going to have, maybe his receptions line. If you do look for Garrett Wilson over, he still may have 5 catches, but it may be 5 for like 35, 40 yards, in my opinion. So, again, missing Morgan Moses is going to hurt them. He's going to have to get rid of the ball quick. I see this being more of like a Conklin type game, maybe Lazard a little bit, but I just don't see Garrett Wilson having a really good game. And Aaron Rodgers is not going to have much time to let the receivers get downfield because this Denver team has a top 5 quarterback pressure rate. So we're talking about Garrett Wilson overall averaging 50 receiving yards per game, and now he has a 54.5 line against the number 1 DB in the NFL. I just don't see it. Jets big favorites. If they do get out to a big league somehow, means more running the ball, bad game script, things like that. So I got to jump on this one. I think it's too high. Give me Garrett Wilson under 54.5 receiving yards, and also his longest completion under 21.5 yards, half unit each. That is my player prop number 1 and 2. All right, we are sticking with the wide receivers, and we're going George Pickens over 50.5 receiving yards at -115 on BetMGM. This is for 1 unit. He's facing the Indianapolis Colts, guys. Now, as you can see by this screenshot on Outlier, over in 2 of the 3 starts, but the one he missed, it was against Patrick Surtain and that Broncos team I just talked about. Let's look at this matchup. Colts, 24th giving up receiving yards to the wide receiver position. Again, got that from Outlier. And something else you can see on Outlier is you can look at target share as well. George Pickens, number 1 in target share at 25.4%. And you can also see what the red zone target share is. It doesn't matter for me really here, but just something to keep in mind in case you're looking at touchdown bets and things like that. But Pickens is obviously the go-to guy here. He's a guy who lines up wide for the most part, does not go in the slot. He's not going to be facing Kenny Moore, their slot corner and all that. The Colts defense just struggles defending outside receivers and defending the perimeter in general. They are a bottom 5 defense. They've given up 112 yards to Odunze last week, 78 to DJ Moore last week. Romeo Doubs, 62 yards. That was with Malik Willis at quarterback. Nico Collins, big-time outside receiver, 117 receiving yards. The Colts, they play high safety a lot, 1 high safety. When you don't have 2 safeties back, obviously that opens it up for big plays, for the plays down the sideline, the outside wide receivers. That's why they struggle. But unfortunately, they have to do that because they don't defend the run or really anything very well. So I think he's going to make huge plays. He's going to dominate this 1 high safety look for the Colts, especially since they don't have any lockdown corner or anything. It's just really a dream matchup for him, and I think we're getting kind of a discount. I don't know why it's at 50.5. I think it should be higher. So as long as Justin Fields can be somewhat accurate, I love Pickens here. So give me Curious George over 50.5 receiving yards as my second best bet. All right, we are sticking with the wide receiver position. Give me the man, the myth, the legend, Nico Collins, over 80.5 receiving yards at -110 on Bet365, 1 unit play. Nico, in my opinion, is a top 5, maybe top 3 wide receiver in the league. He's unbelievable. He is so freaking good. As you can see on Outlier, he is over this in all 3 games this season. Even in that blowout last week when they got crushed, he had 86 receiving yards. Oh, by the way, Tank Dell is out for this game as well. But Nico Collins is a guy who can get yards in a hurry. He can get them in chunks. He averages 18.78 yards per catch this season. His ADOT, average depth of target, is over 13 yards. He also can get that yak. That's yards after catch. 107 yards after catch this season, averaging over 35 per game. That is top 15 in the league. And now he faces a Jaguars defense that is flat out bad. The one thing I love about this is when Stroud has time, he will find Nico Collins. That's just how it is because Collins always finds himself open, and that's going to be great because the Jaguars barely get pressure on the quarterback. They really struggle. I expect C.J. Stroud to have some time here, and I think he's going to find him, and I think he's going to dominate. Now, wide receivers versus the Jags. Shakir, 72 yards against them last week. Jerry Jeudy, 73 yards. Tyreek Hill, 130. Waddle, 109. It can happen, obviously. It's happened with all 3 of those guys. Even though Shakir and Jeudy didn't go over, those are not even near the type of caliber that Nico Collins is. So I love this matchup for Collins. I think he's going to be heavily used in this one. I just love him over 80.5, and actually you're going to hear about him in a ladder parlay as well a little bit later. But that is my player prop number 4. All right, breaking news. This is not a wide receiver. It's a quarterback. Give me the MVP frontrunner, Josh Allen, over 231.5 passing yards at minus 115 on BetMGM for 1 unit. I just don't understand this line, to be honest with you. The Bills have blown teams out, and yet he has still gone over in 2 of the 3 games. The Dolphins game was a complete annihilation where he only attempted 19 passes because he didn't need to. That game doesn't mean a lot to me. Even last week in a blowout, he had 263 pass yards against the Jaguars. We may finally get a competitive Bills game. That's for sure. We'll find out. You never know. But they're in Baltimore, and they're actually underdogs. This Ravens defense, elite at stopping the run, and that's what I absolutely love about this bet, because the Bills, if they struggle to run the ball, they are going to have to rely on Josh Allen, which will help just in volume alone. I know it doesn't help with your efficiency as an offense, but they are allowing the second most pass attempts per game. The reason for that, teams know that they have to move the ball by passing it, because when they try to run, it has just not been pretty. So I think we're going to see maybe the highest volume pass attempts game for Josh Allen so far in this young season. His pass attempts line is set at 31.5 and juiced to the over. They think he's going to get 32 more pass attempts. Let's just take it down to 30. When he has thrown it 30 or more times, he is over this line in 9 of the last 11 games. So volume alone, like I said, should get there, with Cook having a hard time on the ground more than likely. Plus, this Ravens pass defense, absolutely awful, giving up the most pass yards per game in the NFL. That's just what it is. Kyle Hamilton, not as great as we've seen in the past. Other guys just have not been playing as well in that secondary. A big reason probably their defensive coordinator, like I mentioned over and over, Mike McDonald, is now the head coach of the Seahawks, and they have a new DC. It's going to take him time. And Baltimore quarterback pressure, it's been about average this year. It hasn't been just absolutely elite like we've seen in years past, which is going to give Josh Allen some time. And he has one heck of an O-line, at least so far through the 3 weeks. One of the best pass protecting lines in the NFL. You've seen it where he just has all day to go through all his reads and everything. So quarterbacks versus Baltimore in the first 3 weeks. Patrick Mahomes, week 1, 291 yards. Gardner Minshew, 276 yards in Baltimore. Dak Prescott, 379. I don't care if a lot of that was in the third, fourth quarter. He got almost 400 yards passing. They all went over very easily, and now we get the MVP frontrunner, Josh Allen. I think he's going to go over this, honestly, like I said, because I think he's going to throw it 30 or more times, but also because this secondary is absolutely struggling. He is a guy who's going to take what the defense gives him. That's what they are elite at right now. They just move the ball all over the field. They don't force feed anybody. In my opinion, the only way I see him not getting this is somehow the Bills run the ball really well, which nobody's been able to do, or the Bills just completely blow out the Ravens and he doesn't quite get his yards early enough and they just run the ball. But honestly, I don't see any of that happening. And if Baltimore gets out to a big lead, obviously it helps here, and they're known to give up some big leads in the fourth quarter as well. So give me Josh Allen as my player prop number 5. And now let's check out the ladder parlay. We were so close to hitting that ladder parlay last week. We got a 2-legger. Let's do it again. It's going to be quick because 2 guys we already talked about. Nico Collins, 100-plus receiving yards, and George Pickens, 60-plus receiving yards. Got this at plus 505 on DraftKings. Real quick, Nico, 100-plus receiving yards. Already talked about it. This guy's a beast. He's actually already had over 100 yards in 2 of the 3 games already. Facing a Jags team that doesn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. C.J. Stroud should have plenty of time to find him. No Tank Dell in this game. Struggling secondary. Big yards after catch guy, has a high A-dot. I love Nico to have a huge game. George Pickens, the second one, 60-plus receiving yards, facing a team that defends the perimeter. Awful. That's not even good English. Terribly. Let's say that. But they overcompensate. They got to put more guys in the box to stop the run. Single high safety. We talked about all that. 25% target share. I like him to have a good game. We just need Justin Fields to not have some terrible, inaccurate game. But I think he finds Pickens, who is great at getting open and creating separation as well. So I love getting 5-1 odds on these 2 star wide receivers to have some good games. So that is the ladder parlay. Let's get a winner. But it's time to move on to the anytime touchdowns. All right, let's talk about some players that I think are going to hit pay dirt. I got 3 anytime touchdown bets for you. They're going to be a quarter unit each for me. Give me Aaron Jones, Jaden Daniels, and Zach Moss as my 3 anytime touchdown bets. Let me talk briefly about each one. Aaron Jones TD, I got at plus 135 on FanDuel for a quarter unit. Big revenge game. We've talked about it before. The Vikings facing his old team in the Packers. He's already talked to reporters about doing the Lambeau leap. But in reality now, he scored twice this season, one rushing, one receiving. That is the beauty of him. He can score either way. He just had 19 carries last game for 102 yards against a good run defense, in the Texans. He is heavily involved in this offense. Some people worried about Ty Chandler eating into his carries, but he only had 7 carries last week. As you can see by this screenshot from Outlier, Aaron Jones has a 72.7% red zone rush share. He is the man. When they get down there, he is the go-to guy when they run the ball. Vikings will want to get him a touchdown versus his old team. And then he's facing that old team, the Packers, giving up the 7th most rushing yards per attempt. We've talked about that dad bod defense they have. I think we have a close game here. I think he's going to be getting quite a few attempts and carries. Give me Aaron Jones for the Lambeau leap. Second one, Jaden Daniels of the Commanders, anytime touchdown. I'm surprised we're still getting, this is plus 135 on DraftKings. He's already had 3 rushing touchdowns this year. That's right. This game has a total of around 50. I expect a ton of points if you heard my game bets video. And as you can see by this Outlier screenshot, he is tied for the team in red zone rush share percentage, 37.5%. He is a quarterback. He is one of the main guys, obviously, but I just think of him as a running back because when he gets in the red zone, he is pretty much a running back. He has the speed to break a long one as well. Facing a Cardinals defense that, let's face it, they're just not very good. So I'll gladly take plus 135 for one of the most electric quarterbacks in the NFL who already has 3 rushing touchdowns. The third one, Zach Moss, anytime touchdown, minus 110. He plays for the Bengals, if you don't know. For some reason, DK has it at like minus 140, but I saw 3 or 4 other books that I'll have it at minus 110. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Even though Chase Brown has gotten some carries, Zach Moss is still the guy in Cincy. He now has 12 carries in each of the last 2 games. But what I love about this bet is when they get into the red zone, you can see here on this screenshot with Outlier, he has a 73.3% red zone rush share. He is the go-to guy when they run the ball. And he's facing the Panthers, who have already allowed 4 rushing touchdowns. They are pretty much bad in every defensive metric. I think there's a lot of points in this one as well. Give me Zach Moss anytime touchdown. Those are my 3. Let's get a sweep. We haven't got a sweep yet on the anytime touchdowns. We're due for a good week, but that's all the bets I have for you. If I have any added plays, it will be in the pinned comments on X and on Discord. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. There it is. We got a full card for NFL player props for week 4. Garrett Wilson under 21.5 yards, longest reception for a half unit. Garrett Wilson under 54.5 receiving yards for a half unit. And then we got George Pickens over 50.5 receiving yards for a unit. And then we got Nico Collins over 80.5 receiving yards. Josh Allen over 231.5 pass yards. Finally, not a receiver. And then a ladder parlay that I just want to hit so badly. Nico Collins 100+ receiving yards. George Pickens 60+ receiving yards. Plus 505 for a half unit on that one. And then the 3 anytime touchdown bets. Aaron Jones, Jaden Daniels, and Zach Moss with all the odds there too. That's what we got for week 4. Let's have a great week. I appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Just a reminder, we're giving away 3 different people 1 free month of Outlier. If you like the video and leave a comment below, and we'll pick 3 random people. So I am excited for week 4. I'm ready for Sunday to be here. But thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.